Oh, I was trying to reorganize some of these blocks. They're just not made to be vertical. They're all made to be horizontal, and I foobarred them, and I didn't think, oh, I should, I just thought, oh yeah, I can do this, and then but this application is just not made to do that.
No worries. I've thought many times about actually finally redoing the entire thing and seeing if I could do um, like a soundboard input, from an app, but
Mm-hmm.
I've been lazy.
How was your first PT?
First one was fine. Second one was also fine. Uh, a lot of build up there. Uh, no, it's good. The first one was very much a let's see where you are and do a few things and um, blah blah blah. Was encouraging that they were impressed with where my general state of recovery was. So I took that as a positive. That they expected uh, a lot more swelling still, uh, more pain, um, less range of motion. Like everything was better than what they thought it might be. So that was good.
Nice, good, good.
Everything is uncomfortable. Uh, you know,
Uncomfortable is better than something worse.
yes. Um, but all in all,
I
it's
guess
good.
on a scale of 1 to 10, how uncomfortable is it?
Most of the time, I would say it's around 3 to 4. But there are moments that hit 5, 6.
Okay. What would you say is? I mean, what's been your closest to 10
You mean overall, like, or with?
in the whole of your life? If that's
um,
not too personal a question, I guess.
yeah, I'm trying to think of anything that would have gotten that bad. Um, I don't know. The only thing that
Yeah,
I remember really reacting strongly about would have been 16, 15. Uh, Four-wheeler wreck where my foot got fractured and an ankle sprained. But I think most of it was just general like, fear, you know, everything, not having gone through something like that in any way, shape, fashion, or form, and the emotional response more than anything specifically physically.
yeah, that makes sense. I gotta say, I think I'm on the. I don't think I've ever had anything that I would say is above a 5. I've not done much to hurt. I've not been in much pain in my life.
The one thing I remember from that particular scenario, so the ankle was sprained, didn't have to have a cast or anything. It was just wrapped in an ace bandage. But I remember same day after going, to the ER, getting X-rays, getting back home, I went to. I guess I was getting a bath because certainly wouldn't have been standing. Um, but that foot, I put that foot down on a like a Matchbox car and put weight on it, and that hurt a lot.
Yeah,
But I don't remember anything specific beyond that. Yeah, I honestly this surgery and all would probably be the worst that I've gone through at any given stage, and I still don't know that I would say that it's horrible. I mean, it's certainly uncomfortable, but it's not. So this is we're going to back up slightly. This is the problem with these types of questions for me. I feel like I have a much greater pain tolerance than I should. And so, I've been weight bearing for a little less than a week now. And yeah, it hurts to walk, but it doesn't hurt enough to stop me doing it. And so for me, that's uncomfortable. It's not, I don't categorize it as uh, pain in that same sense because it doesn't stop me from doing it. Whereas if something is really painful, it stops me from doing it because it hurts too bad. Um, and so what I classify as uncomfortable could still hurt quite a bit, but it's it's tolerable enough, I guess, is a way to phrase it. So that's why I have difficulty with these types of questions because, like yesterday, so currently PT is on Monday and Thursday for the next few weeks. And yesterday evening, by the end of the day, uh, it hurt to walk. I would limp a little bit more than I naturally limp at the moment as things are healing. Um, but it didn't stop me from putting weight on the foot. So maybe that explains it a little bit better. But that's what I would call, a maybe four, maybe five, somewhere in that general range because it affects my behavior, but it doesn't stop it.
Right, right. So I was gonna say I think it's pretty hard because everybody has different tolerance for pain, and then everyone has a different tolerance for different tolerances for different types of pain. So yeah, it's I feel like it's one of the most subjective things. So
Yeah,
and
definitely.
so yeah, so like I'm over here saying like I can't think of anything that I've done that's really been that painful because um like I've never broken a bone. I haven't been in any major automobile accident. I have never experienced any traumatic injury to my body. Now there's been a few times where like I I I don't know what the issue was. It may have been stress. Or maybe something exacerbated by stress. But I've had a lower back injury before. But for all intents and purposes, or all things considered, healed from that. I don't have regular back pain. From time to time I do, but it could be related to sleeping wonky or, like I said, I've once had an amount, experiencing an amount of stress that I had, difficulty with mobility. But I would never say it was like pain so much as it, like I wasn't suffering in pain and suffering so much as like it was debilitating. Like I couldn't walk because like I couldn't, it hurt too much. And so it's like as a person, when you have that kind of pain, you try not to walk. You try to do what you can to not feel that, as a, for your own safety. So that's
Right.
what I'm saying. I don't think that I've ever had, I don't think I've ever gone too high on the pain scale.
I guess technically I can no longer say I've never broken a bone. I mean, I didn't break it, but I did agree to have it broken.
Right, right. And it wasn't even your actions; it was somebody else broke it for you. Well, that's me too. I can't say that I have broken a bone, but I've never broken my own bone.
Yeah, just
When I
kind of funny to
was
think about it with that, verbiage. But
Yeah, well, mine was accident. I was playing soccer and it wasn't even a game. It was a practice, and I was 14. I was playing striker, and the keeper was not did not make a good move. I was going to strike the ball, and he put his hand out on the ball to stop it while I was kicking it, and it broke the radius and the ulna in his right forearm.
ouch.
Yeah, they had to take him to the hospital. It had to be like he had to go into they had to surgically set it. I felt terrible. I mean, there was some amount of celebration because I scored a goal, and then I found out that he was, he didn't get up, and like he was going into shock on the pitch, and yeah, that was not a good thing.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons I am glad that my son has no interest in playing goalkeeper.
Oh no, it's the most I dislike that position myself. I've done it. I did it one season, and it was because nobody else would. And I was 18, and I did a pretty good job, but I didn't like it. Don't like it. I was talking to my kids; they also don't like it. They're not interested either. So
I don't think I have anything else on the foot though.
I saw your picture. The atrophy wasn't, at least from the picture I saw, wasn't too. bad. How did you feel about it when you?
I mean, it's not as bad as it could be for sure. In person, it feels bad, but at the same time, it's responding quickly to any kind of activity, which it doesn't necessarily surprise me because I mean, just general shape of my legs and how much I used them prior to all this. Like I expected a fairly quick bounce back anyway. Um, and so like the what you don't see in that picture is how flabby like it moves. Like I couldn't tense the muscle to make it taut like the other one. Um, Now it's starting to do that again. So now I'm happier, even if it's smaller, because I can kind of flex it and it feels like it's something there. Um, and we're less than a week into me doing anything with it, so I'm happy with where it will go. It's just kind of funny uh, looking at it right away.
Yeah, yeah. But did it surprise you, or were you
Oh
just
no,
like, "This is what I expected"?
yeah, it's what I expected, and I mean I'd been able to see my calf for a while, so it's not like it was something I hadn't noticed already 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Good. Well, because sometimes seeing that has can be maybe not upset. Well, I think for some people it could be upsetting. But
Oh, I'm sure. If someone went into it with a different expectation, I could see that being just a real mental blow. Um, but like for me, I knew full well it was gonna be that way, and just like I know full well that within I don't know 60 days it'll probably look like normal, if even that long. It just kind of depends on when I'm allowed to add a little bit of weight to what I'm doing.
when anything else that the physical therapist said? Any?
I was trying to think of anything else. Not that I can think of. I was surprised, or actually, I guess I can add this part, even though it kind of goes in with what I already said. Um, First session, we were the question was posed if I had been walking without the boot at all, and so well, no, because I just had the follow up, and I was told to wear the boot. So,
Right.
I haven't really tried it other than the amount of time it takes me to get a shower. And so that first session, the PT said, "Okay, I want you to just work on walking without the boot, how to the extent that you feel comfortable." And so okay, and which basically for me it just means, all right, well, I'm going to walk without the boot. There's
Yeah.
it, either it's gonna be a thing or it's not. And so the only time I've worn the boot since then has been when we were going to the fields for soccer matches over the weekend. Just because I didn't want to go from not walking around a whole lot and all the non-weight bearing stuff straight to trying to walk on somewhat uneven ground without any kind of support. Um, but since then, other than that, it's been either barefoot around the house or in shoes when I go out and meet somebody.
Nice. Well, that's great, and that's excellent.
Yeah, I mean it's
Are you?
uncomfortable just because the foot is obviously still swollen. The swelling will continue for a bit still, but so the shoes aren't necessarily the most comfortable, but they're not any less comfortable than the boot. So
But it's certainly feels like progress is well, it's been progress. It's been progress the whole time, but certainly, you know, it feels like I'm sure you feel like you've got the progress is now somewhat in your control.
yeah, it feels that way. And if nothing else, kind of the other way I would phrase it is just that it feels like I'm at least able to uh, be not really normal day to day because I'm still certainly not walking like normal, but it feels more like normal day to day because I'm not doing a bunch of other things that are mitigating some other aspect. For example, the non-weight bearing stuff, it was crutches, and then it was the boot for a couple of days, and it was a boot for a month before surgery. So it's been a consistent 4 months of yeah, I'm not doing normal. And so now it feels more normal, even if it's uncomfortable during that. I think that makes sense anyway.
It does. It does. I was just thinking about it's the I can't I the message you sent to me about not having to turn around going down the stairs, and so I thought that was amusing. How many times have you how many times did it take before you started consistently not turning around?
It it only took the bulk of that first day.
Yeah.
It was probably a dozen times before I would, because I would start to turn, just the habit of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
way I would normally turn to grab the door, and as I'm going down backwards. So I would start to turn like I'm going to grab the door and start down, and then I would catch myself and just go down. Um, but yeah, it was after that first day, I haven't done it again, but it took consciously thinking about it for a bit that first day. And I have no doubt there'll be a random day sometime later on where I'll catch myself doing it again.
Oh, for sure. It makes me think of the doors that you look at the handle and you don't know if it's push or pull, and then you go to do it and then it's just like you get it wrong. And like, well, I was gonna say the Apple Store was a great one because it's like, how many times did you go through that door? And then every once in a while, I know I've said this before. Once, like maybe like once every month, every other month, I'd I'd pull when I should push, and I'm like, I don't know. I saw someone call those handles pull handles. They're pull handles.
I think I've heard somebody call them that before too.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad your foot's. I'm glad it's going well. What is? I guess last question I have is like, what is the next big milestone for? Because I mean, getting where you are, where you between where you started last week with physical therapy, like that's one of the most significant milestones. And curious, what's the next big milestone that you've got your sights set?
I think it's one of two things, and I don't know which one will be first. But the two things that I'm most interested in achieving are a full step without it being shortened because of the lack of range of motion and flexion. So, like, part of the limp now is just because my foot doesn't go quite as far as it needs to go. And so, as I'm making that step, I have to stop and kind of adjust. Um, so, a proper gait, I guess, would be the way I would phrase it for one milestone. And the other one is being able to balance for 30 seconds on one foot.
Oh yeah. Presumably the injured foot.
Yes, on the injured foot. I can do 30 seconds on
I
the
think
good foot.
you can
Without
do it on
problem.
the good foot.
Yeah. But I was kind of surprised that we started doing that Monday, yesterday.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I mean, it feels quick, but it was doable. So I got about 15 seconds
Oh wow.
before I
Okay.
had to. Yeah.
That's good.
So, it's just because I was balanced in a way that I didn't have to try to correct. And so part of how I explained it, which is, I think, to be expected, is right now there's just no strength to those stabilizing muscles in the ankle.
Yeah.
So if I
Yeah.
start to go one direction, I just can't stop it.
Oh wow.
Um,
That's kind of freaky, right?
well, it was that way before the surgery because of the issues I was having
Oh,
with the
okay.
ankle. So, like right now, it's just a net same. Um,
Okay.
which is kind of funny to think about. And so it'll should certainly get better, and I'm looking forward to actually being able to do it again. Because the last time I was able to do it was, I don't know, 2.5 years ago.
Wow, that's a long time. That's a
Yeah.
long time. Well, all right. I did have some follow up from last show, and I was listening to the show before that. So this is 239. So there was some. I was listening to 237, and I was like, "Oh, I got some things wrong," and I didn't make note of what things I got wrong, so I'm not going to correct them. But I think in 238 I corrected some things from 237, and in 237 I heard more things that I didn't correct in 238, but I didn't make note of what they were. So That is to say, if you've gotten to 237 and 238 and now are listening to 239, yes, there's still mistakes in 237 that I made and about things, and that's okay. I know. Send me an email or contact me via telepathy. No, the follow-up that I had from last show that I did uh, put in the notes just now was about the Gross. I made sure that I had the details about the Gross Piton Trail, and I didn't realize how close to sea level you start. It's not quite at sea level, but it's under 1,000 feet, around 700. But the total trail is 2.9 miles because it's an in and out. So you have over 1,800, so specifically 1,833 feet elevation gain in less than a mile and a half, according to all trails. So that's taking some stairs. I don't recommend it in your current condition.
Yeah, not at all. Today I tried just walking out on the street up to the I guess you could. It's up to where the two streets join. So it's not a cul-de-sac because it's not an end, but it's that round area up the hill.
It's a cul-de-sac with a road that got stuck into it.
Yeah. Well, apparently it was designed that way, which is why it technically isn't a cul-de-sac. So.
Well, I mean, it was designed to be a cul-de-sac with a road stuck into it.
Yeah. But anyway, I walked up to there and back, and that was all I could take. So. That was my first attempt at navigating the light incline from our driveway up that portion of the hill and back.
I gotta imagine. So, how far is that? Just
maybe 100 yards.
Okay. How'd you feel after?
Uncomfortable enough that I wanted to sit down and put my foot up.
Gotcha. Are you having to do anything else? I mean, just get other than take a load off, no icing or anything like that.
I could ice. I haven't, just because it's kind of the same way that I looked at it after the cast came off. If it doesn't look like it's swelling more, then I'm content to just let my body deal with it. If it looks to me like it's swelling, then I'll ice. But if it's just the same state of swollenness that it has been, it doesn't look like it's increasing, and it doesn't look like it's turning blue or anything, then I just let it go and elevate the foot instead. And I don't know which way is better or worse technically. I just figure if I don't feel a need to ice, then I try to avoid it just to let my body focus on the sensation and healing, targeted healing.
I have to imagine that you don't want to put yourself in a position where you need to ice it.
Yeah, and that's also my assumption based on just general feedback from PT. But they did say don't be afraid to ice it if I feel like I need to.
Right, makes sense.
And we end each PT session with I don't know what you call the electrical stimulus units they're not like a handheld TENS unit, but I assume it's still a TENS unit. But either way, electrodes with some stimulation for the muscle, and then wrapping sort of like an ice pack that pumps water through. So it's like a cooling boot kind of thing.
Like a refrigerator.
Yeah. And it feels good. So I figure it gets at least some of that each week. It'll be all right.
Maybe it's technically a type of radiator because it's radiating heat away from your foot and cold to it.
Maybe. I mean, it's definitely.
I mean, you wouldn't call it a radiator. I'm sure it has a specific name, but it's the same concept. I guess same concept as a radiator.
Yeah, I could be, because it's definitely pumping cold water through and uses ice in the chamber at the top that it pumps everything through as it goes back through the boot and through a hose back up to that device. Shifting around a little because I decided I needed to have the foot up off the floor now that we're toward the end of the day.
Yeah. It's a cold day too. Relatively.
It felt great outside earlier.
Oh yeah, it did.
Yeah.
The weather app is telling me that there's a freeze warning. So
Yeah.
thanks.
Hopefully my trees will all be okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Becca planted some various, she planted various plants last weekend, and thinking, we were thinking that we were past the last freeze of the season, but apparently not. So
Yeah, most of mine were planted last year anyway. I only have the one that I planted over the weekend, and I'm not concerned about it because I've got mulch over the uh, root bed and all to help keep it insulated. So even though it's freshly planted, it should be fine. Uh, I was thinking more from the standpoint of I just hope it doesn't actually get below freezing and then kill off the nice full leaf structure that I've got on all my maples. I mean, the trees should survive
I
without a
don't
problem, but
I don't know why it's saying freeze warning because it's not getting close to freezing. I mean, it's in the low. Yet tomorrow, the low is 37.
yeah.
Overnight. So that's not. I wouldn't say a freeze warning for that. That seems not correct. I thought we were gonna dip below.
I
I
think there
don't have
was.
any.
I do think there was some uncertainty about how low it might hit because of the weather, the rain, and all that we had come through. Because the freeze warning was initiated early to me. Because I think it was. I'd have to go back and look, but I thought I saw it last night. And I know last night it wasn't getting that cold, so it. But anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I was gonna say I still don't have any music follow up.
No
Don't
worries.
know
I just
why.
realized I didn't ask about it.
Well, I was gonna say it's not for a lack of trying because like I wanted to listen to the whole album. So I've listened to the first two songs 4 times because I wanted to do like like a complete beginning to end, and so I have my fingers crossed for a week from now to have some follow up.
No worries at all.
I noticed that we don't really have any topic, but the world's been kind of we've sent some messages back and forth about how we've I guess we're in our fourth generation of once in a generation economic crises that we've lived through.
Yeah. How about some precedented time for a change?
Well, at this point, unprecedented is now becoming the precedent,
True.
and that is not a delight. That is not good. I I've gotten to a point now that my therapy has been to occasionally go on social media and pick a fight with somebody, only for them to find out that I didn't like pick a fight and with the strategy of dying on a particular hill, so much as I'm looking to go and murder you on your hill, and that proved to be successful.
I can condone this behavior.
Yeah, well, it's time. It's I'm ready. I'm ready to kill people on their hill. um, yeah, I
I
I think I
actually,
sent.
surprisingly enough, I've actually spent less time on social media, I guess for a few months now.
Oh yeah. I've been off of social media for a few months now. I don't even like I have like my their access to them is buried. So like it's not it used to be like a hey, I like to do this thing and I made access to these apps real easy, and then now it's less easy for me to get to. So consequently, I'm not for quite a maybe a year now that I've said it that way, and it was just because I felt like I was like I'm just pulling this up as soon as I have a moment where I'm unengaged, and so it's just like I'm gonna dial back a little bit.
I don't even remember. Like, I know part of why I did was because I was tired of people, um, which I've been tired of people for a long time. So it doesn't really seem like that's a valid reason. But I was tired of the hypocrisy. I'll put it that way. And so I started dialing stuff back anyway. And then I don't know. It was probably 4 or 5 months ago that I just decided I'm not getting any kind of enjoyment out of this. So why should I engage?
Right. I think that's kind of. I guess I've been more intentional about my use, and like I said, I was like, it's gonna feel good for me to go pick a fight with somebody.
I do find myself on Instagram more than any of the others, and I think it's
Same.
just because it fits my general attention span for interaction anymore.
Well, it's also not. It's.
It's not as hostile.
Yes. It. Well,
I mean, it can
from
be. It can be.
well, I was just gonna say from Meta's point of view,
Yeah.
um, uh, maybe hostile is not the right word. It's very aggressive with advertising, but I don't dislike it so much in that the advertising is so spot on that I was like, oh yeah, I do need that in my life, but just not today. And after last Wednesday, probably not anytime soon. Liberty Day, was it? Liberty Day. I feel bad. I have
Liberation Day.
Liberation Day. Thank you. I have a cousin called Liberty, and I'm glad they didn't name it after her. Or I'm glad it's close, but
Yeah. So this will be a callback to a discussion that I don't think we actually had on the show, but an in-person discussion. Um, Next week, we're having a generator installed, and I set all of that in motion at a time where, after the events of last week, if I had known that was coming, I don't know if I would have. But at the same time, I'm also glad I did, because I don't know what the events of last week are going to do to generator prices.
oh no,
So,
no, it's going up.
oh, I'm sure.
Unless you're getting
I mean, we
unless
know
you're
that,
getting a
but
Russian, unless you're getting a Russian made generator.
yeah. but uh, but like, how bad is more what I was meaning. And so
Yeah.
part of me says, okay, well, I'm glad I started this process when I did, and part of me is also kind of, was this the right time to do it? And it doesn't really matter now. It's in progress. So
Is it a full house generator?
yes,
Oh wow.
yep, 26 kilowatt hour, or is it 26 kilowatt? I think.
Kilowatt.
Yeah,
I mean that's I mean our like the electric company measures your energy consumption in kilowatt hours, so that seems
yeah,
right.
yeah. So the 22. I think it's 20 kilowatt hour. I'd have to go back and look. Either way, 20 to 2020, 20 to 22 typically will run most things in a house. And then if you bump it up to 26, you don't have to worry about pretty much anything unless it's just a massive house. And so I was talking to the salesman and everything, and got to the point of talking about price difference. It was like a $300 price difference. And it's like, well, why wouldn't I? Like, who is wanting to save, $500 or less for having to pick and choose what runs and what doesn't run, and maybe, not have a couple of outlets or a room or two covered or whatever. Like, if we're talking, I mean, you could tell me it was $1,000 difference, and I would still say, well, why wouldn't I? So if you're talking, less than $500, then hell yeah, we're going to put the larger one in.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the end of that callback, by the way. I don't have anything else to add to it. So.
No, yeah, I know. I'm just like, I felt like I'd have more to say about this past week, but
So I thought a lot about that. I had a lot of notes that I started to type in, and a lot of other
okay,
things, and then it was just, I don't actually have anything to say that hasn't been said. Like, that was the thing that I just kept coming back to. It's like, everything that I want to say, I've heard.
okay. Well, then I'm gonna drop this on you, and
Okay.
that is the most clever thing I came up with. Was I, so I said that I was gonna die. I was gonna go kill people on their heels, and I think the most clever thing that came out of that was I referred to President Trump's book as having should have the or shoulding or should be renamed to "Fart of the Deal," how to with the subtitle of "How to Gaslight a Nation and Shit All Over Democracy."
Clever. I don't know that I have anything to say to that either.
No,
I mean, it's like that's where I find myself, and I don't know how much of it is numbness at the moment, or
it is. No, I think it is. I think there is a fair amount of numbness,
or just that there's other. For me, my focus is on the foot too, and so like the rest of it is just extra noise about how fucked we still are. It's
it's also there's also we were forced on this ride, and there's no getting off. Like this is
yeah.
I believe Josh Wolf was the comedian who introduced I think it was his brother to edibles, and he was going to tell his brother, here's what a quarter of a brownie is going to do for you, and his brother is like, didn't let him finish his statement. He's like, "Nah, I'm good," and he ate a whole brownie. And I was like, "Well, he's on that ride. There was no coming back from. Well, I guess he could have pumped it. He could have forced it out of himself. But point is that there are certain things that cannot be undone, and we're just gonna have to grit our teeth and bear it.
Yeah.
I didn't come up with this one, but I did see this somewhere, and it was the dildo of consequences rarely arrives lubed.
I think I saw that too.
Yeah,
it sounds familiar. I definitely heard something similar. If it wasn't the same thing,
I'm self. I guess my self therapy is amusing memes. So. I think I sent this to you, but one that made me think of you for sure was a scene. I haven't seen the movie, but there's a scene from Step Brothers with Will Ferrell and I'm blanking on his name. I think he has three names. Do you know who I'm talking about? Right, Scott Riley. I'm so close. I know it's not George C. Scott because that's another actor.
I'm blanking. I'm trying to think about.
He's got curlyish hair.
I can picture him in my head, but I'm blanking. Right.
John C. Reilly.
Okay.
I was close. I got the C, and I knew that it was. I knew it was. I said three names, but I knew it was two names in a middle initial. But, okay, so they're it's a scene where they're at the dinner table, I guess with their parents. I don't know. Haven't seen the movie, and they're like, Did we do this? And in the video it shows like Trump voters, like Will Ferrell's character and John C. Reilly's character both have Trump voter, and like, did we do this? Did we do this? And their mom is portrayed. I'm assuming it's their mom is portrayed by Mary Steenburgen, and her caption or she's indicated as being Fox News, and you hear her in the scene there. Her character says, "No, you are not responsible for this." And then Richard Jenkins is maybe the father, and I might be getting a little bit out of order. And he's listed as the anti-Trump Republican. He's like, "This is 150% your fault." And Adam Scott is a character, and he's like, he's listed as Gen X Democrat, and that's what made me think of you. And he goes, "I could have told you this," and he had some biting. He had another biting comment. But did I send this to you?
No, I don't think so.
No, I'm gonna send this to you because it's too good not to watch. So.
What is this? What's happening?
No. I gotta say, I could have called this one.
No.
Yeah.
Is it our fault?
It is not your fault.
Whose fault is it? Oh, fuck, I want to fucking know.
Let's cut this shit. It is directly your fault. It is absolutely 150% your fault. Of course it's their fault.
Please don't cry like that.
Let's grow up.
I think I'm going to throw up. I think I'm going to throw
Don't
up.
throw up.
Come on. You threw up. Oh, this is ugly. Hey, guys.
This is not right.
All right, dipshits. Right here.
Stop it.
1, 2, 3.
I don't want my picture taken right now.
And then there's was it maybe it wasn't Amy Poehler. I'm thinking of that other good movie, but there was another woman in there, and I don't even remember what her her deal was. I don't remember what her label was, but yeah. I think the dad, the anti-Trump Republican, says something about growing up, and John C. Reilly's character, the Trump voter, is like, yeah, I think I'm gonna throw up, and then throws up. I'm like, this is what you fucking voted for.
I was having a minor conversation with my brother the other day, and I say minor just because we didn't really go into any details on anything, but
So not about holes in the earth.
yeah. But one of the things that he mentioned was catching an ABC 3340 poll or something that was localized to this region, where there were still 40-something% of supporters who think that whatever is going on or approve of whatever's going on, or think whatever's going on is the right course of action. I don't remember how it was phrased. But the his comment that he made was that was disheartening. Said, but at the same time, at least that's up quite a bit on the side of the disapproval. He was just annoyed that it was still that high for those who were approving of current actions.
I know somebody who's defending them, and the exchange that some of the exchange that occurred was like, I made some comments like this is bringing back. So bringing back, if you want to actually bring back, so first of all, the idea of bringing manufacturing back to the United States is not what this is about. And I think Friday morning it was quite clear when President Trump tweeted out to the chair of the Fed that he needed to consider lowering interest rates. So, I mean, what that tells me is that the whole point of this is all for, this is for personal gain. And, the issue is that he likely needs to refinance a lot of debt that he has, and he wants better interest rates. This may be a sophomoric view of, some of the pieces there, but it's not nothing. Like, it's not unfounded.
Yeah, in the conversation that I was having with my brother, part of what came up was I made the comment that, I don't know enough about all of it to honestly say, but what it feels like to me is destroy the value of enough things to be able to merge or acquire stuff at a lower cost to yourself or your friends, and then rebuild because you know that it's going to be worth more later.
Well, yeah. Well, there's that, but there's also before the election, there was an article that I'll see if I can find it so that I can link it, put the link in the notes for us. But there's an article that I listened to on Apple News, and basically was going to, like, he has a significant amount of debt and he is losing money, and I can't remember if it was Trump Tower or another building that he owns in Manhattan. But the issue is he doesn't own the land underneath the building, so he's beholden to the landowner, who I believe they're German, and the deal is significantly favorable to them. Or the terms of the lease are significantly favorable to them, and it was coming up, or something was coming up, I think in 2025, and that was one piece of it. Another piece of it was that he's losing money on the space there because it's mostly residents, and he's having difficulty filling it with the residents, and the terms of the lease are such that he can't just start converting things to commercial use. And also that he's losing commercial tenants as well. So that is to say, the broad details that I can remember from a few months ago are, he's losing tenants and he's losing money, and restructuring of the loan is coming up, or something terms of the loan are coming up, and it's not in his favor. And for all you could consider that he's bought himself 4 years, because who's gonna default on the sitting president? If he had not won the election, he might have been in much deeper trouble. But now it looks, with that bit of information, with what he's doing, and it looks like he's trying to devalue the dollar and take the economy, the domestic economy, for his own personal gain. And like I said, this could be a sophomore view, but it's not totally off base. I feel like I'm in the ballpark. I'm playing the game because I'm not just making this up. So
it's more than plausible.
Yes.
There's what's the way it's phrased? There's at least a strand of truth woven in there.
Yes. Well, then there's also the idea that so some of the exchanges I had on social media over the past week, somebody had said, you got to trust him. He's trying to bring back manufacturing, and I was like, this is not, maybe you can bring back manufacturing this way, but this is like one of the worst ways you could bring back manufacturing. There's so many other things that can be done that would benefit the economy and the people. Obviously, they're not into benefiting the economy and the people, but this is not the right way to do this. This is one of the worst ways of doing it. And that I know is not untrue. So, but there's no guarantee that it's going to bring back any sort of manufacturing, because bringing back manufacturing is not it's not an overnight process. It's not a 4-year process. It's not an 8-year process.
It's also not really a worthwhile goal. Like, why would you want to bring it back anyway? What benefit is there to bringing manufacturing that is overseas back here?
I don't know. I mean, I understand that there is a problem when all or the vast majority of manufacturing, especially for sometimes whole sectors of the market in one country. Like, there's a lot of tech manufacturing in China. If most of it is in China, and there's a problem with that. But it's not about bringing that manufacturing back to the United States so much as it doesn't need to be in one country, because if China decides, hey, we're going to do this, well, hell, what if they decided to put a 50% tariff on everything that they ship, or whatever, they mark up everything 50%, and all of a sudden, or mark up everything 100%, everything is double in price. Like, that's not great, and we don't have options, and it's years before you can solve that problem. Prior to sometime very recently, that wasn't a huge scare, but it was a concern. Now I think it's no longer a concern. It's a plausible threat, or a plausible outcome.
I don't see how we, in the wake of recent events, I don't see how that's not a guaranteed outcome.
Right. I agree. And the thing is, it's like, the United States is coming into 2025. The United States was a very strong country, but we were never going to be stronger than the entire rest of the world, and we have just pitted our country has been pitted against the rest of the world for all intents and purposes,
minus Russia
and North Korea.
Yeah,
and maybe Israel.
No, because Netanyahu already came and tried to stop some things from happening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
So, if I remember correctly, the only countries that I haven't heard anything against were Russia and North Korea. But I don't think we have any kind of trade with North Korea at all at the moment, right?
Yeah, and you know what? I keep thinking about, like, I'm sure he put tariffs on the Federated States of Micronesia.
I'm sure.
I mean, I did see a meme of a penguin running around with a machete saying, become unterrifiable. I might have sent that to you as well.
I don't remember seeing that one, but I did see there was there's been a bunch of stuff, but I saw a picture of hundreds of penguins and joining in protests and all that kind of stuff being the caption or the story.
I haven't been able, being in Alabama, the protests are not, particularly. It's hard to gauge what kind of protesting is occurring living in Alabama, but having seen protests from other parts of the country, they're far more significant than protests have been here, and that's a little bit encouraging. Also, the Capitol switchboard, and this was actually, I think this was before fucking Liberation Day. The switchboard has calls have gone up 3,800%.
I think, did I send you the thing about the fax machines?
I think so. Yes, you
Okay.
did. I saw that.
Yeah, I loved that. So for someone who hadn't seen it, the concept is Congress people complaining about the influx of emails and phone calls, I think, is how it started. And so this person on social media was saying, let me introduce you to something to be really unbearable with, and that is the fax machine, and providing the information to do so without having to have a fax machine of your own, because you can do online services to send faxes and that kind of thing.
Oh my gosh. You said something there, and I want to pull this out and make some comments about it. But the fact that representatives, Congress people, I'm assuming it's representatives and senators, but the fact that any one of the 635 members of Congress have made some comment in the neighborhood of being annoyed by the increased volume of communication from their constituents needs to get the fuck out and and when they get to where the fuck they're going, they just need to keep on fucking off.
Yeah,
so that is the primary function of their job is to listen to their constituents.
The one thing that I am hopeful for out of the combination of things that have occurred over the past, we'll say 3 weeks, just because I don't know the timing of everything. Wisconsin's vote for the Supreme Court justice going the way of the anti-Musk, anti-Trump candidate, and handily going to the opposing candidate. I think it's positive, and I wouldn't have put a whole lot of stock in that by itself, but when you couple that with the number of protests that have occurred, like you were alluding to, and the 25-hour speech that we talked about last week by Senator Booker, and the fact that there's this effort to be annoying with regards to communication, and you take all those things together, and I have a little more hope for the trajectory of where we're headed, not necessarily in the short term or even in the next 2 years, but as we hit other election cycles where people maybe finally realize that they've been duped for a while. at least in the voting majority. Maybe not the majority of the population, but at least the voting majority. And if so, then we can start to unravel some of this just fucking up of everything that we have found ourselves in.
Yes. Yeah. I think it was 25 million Musk spent in Wisconsin.
I thought it was more than that.
Might have been more. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a dent in. I mean, I don't know how noticeable. You know, we can sit here and say $25 million is a lot of money. If you got half of that money, like if we got $25 million between the two of us, so we each get half, even after taxes at the highest tax rate that they enforce on the the plebes, not the not with the loopholes and whatnot. That changes your life. That changes my life. You know. So and then we sit here and we can say, well, it doesn't make a dent in his his pile of rice, to use that imagery. But it also does not go unnoticed, because a person like that is like, this is a lot. They know it's a lot of money. It doesn't really change their life at all, but it didn't change their life at all. And that feels good. So no matter how much money, you pumped in a lot of money to try to get an outcome, and you couldn't do it. And that feels like it's a small victory there.
Yes.
And I will say, in reference to Musk, when I saw an interview with him, and he just looked, kind of like dazed at what was happening with Tesla stock. And this was before all these tariffs. This was as a response to the Department of Government Efficiency and how unwell that went over. And Tesla stock loss was $225 a share in 3 months' time, something like that. Significant loss. Now it doesn't compare to the loss that we've experienced over the last week, which is like, I think in the 7 big tech companies, it's been like $1.5 trillion in market cap that was lost.
It's up there.
It's a bloodbath. Anyway, he was just kind of like, didn't know how to respond to the interviewer. He was just kind of like you could tell that he just didn't know how to respond, and he was still had some emotional, feeling some emotion about it. It wasn't, it was not business at all. It was kind of the antithesis of Tim Cook. And to use another public figure who seems like he has no, well, I don't want to say he doesn't have no personality. He just is. He's not robotic, but he's not.
He's very reserved.
He's incredibly dispassionate.
Yeah. I would describe him the same way, I think.
I think reserved is also.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the other way I would put it, where he has a very measured public persona.
He does have yes, he is. Yes, a measured public persona is a really good description. Reserved as well. I think Musk was also referring to Tim Walz, going on about the drop in Tesla stock price, and he was just like, Musk had the gall to say, who would delight in this? And I was like, I do. I mean, I feel bad for people who had Tesla stock, that are good people, and I feel bad for the people who genuinely, the overlap of people who genuinely want good things for this country and want good things for this planet were buying Tesla cars because they genuinely thought this was a good thing for this country and this planet. All things, all other things considered, and I don't fault them for that position. They are not wrong. But I really, really dislike Musk, and I don't want to see him succeed because he has shown that he is not he does not have character. He is a bad player, and So one of my favorite recent memes was one I saw somebody had turned the Tesla icon upside down, the Tesla T upside down, and put two little eyes on it, so it looked like it was a white Tesla icon with a black background, so it looked like somebody with the big pointy hat that is associated with the Ku Klux Klan. And the other was somebody referred to Tesla as the fascist cars around.
I like that.
Like
one.
I said, man, yeah. The memes have been good. The protest sign, I'd mentioned protests. The protest signs have been good. One of them was like, "Hey, I'm still using my rights. I don't want you to take them away. I'm still using this."
Yeah, I also saw, just to continue this train of thought for a moment. Apparently, for whatever reason, he decided to live stream something and was inundated with trolls calling him a fascist and everything else until he rage quit the live stream, which I find a very strong sense of delight in that, because he is the epitome of a troll when it comes to social media. It's the whole reason he bought Twitter in the first place. And like, if you can't, well, I mean, trolls can't take it anyway. That's the whole reason we call them trolls. But
Right.
it illustrated how much of a troll he is. So I delighted in that a bit. And then we may have seen snippets from the same interview. There was a portion where an interviewer was asking him how he was like running companies and being a part of or doing the stuff with the government, with this administration, and it was like he couldn't answer that either. It was just, or yeah, it's hard, or very resigned, very tired seeming. And I took a bit of
Defeated.
delight in that. Yeah, that would be a good way to
Yes.
describe it too.
Like, I haven't seen him not look defeated in the last few weeks, and
Yeah.
and as I understand it, he is no longer in in Trump's administration in a leadership capacity. So
I saw an article today where apparently he made some anti-tariff comments recently as well. So there's speculation that that might be the quote-unquote second strike for him.
yeah, well, it's gonna hurt him,
Yeah.
and it's hurting all of us, and I mean, even people that don't have, people that are not in the stock market, people that are not, I mean, the first wave is, the stock market. The second wave is higher prices and inflation and a devalued dollar. So sadly, this may not be the worst to come, and the midterms are going to be really interesting.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
You said it.
It's the only thing that comes to mind. Really is.
Oh, you know what? Buckle up, Buttercup would be a really good. I feel like that might be a really good ending. But you know what? We should say something. Because I know that you are a fan, and I am a fan. I think we both have equal appreciation for Val Kilmer, and he passed away.
Yes, I thought to send you to make sure you saw it and then forgot about it, but I was certain you'd seen it anyway. So,
Yeah.
Very, very sad news.
Yeah, I mean, he'd been unwell for the past decade. I say unwell. He was. I don't even say that he was a shell of himself, because he wasn't. I think he was. Well, it is to say that in your mid-50s, you aren't expecting to go out the way that he did. None of us are thinking. We all know that it could happen to us, but none of us are thinking that I'm going to, in my mid-50s, I will have a form of cancer and then never be able to fully recover. And that is what happened to him, and it was sad. I don't think, he had an interesting career, and there's a whole documentary that I think it's on Prime that really goes into it, and because I didn't realize sort of I don't know that he was unpopular in Hollywood, but he wasn't. I don't think that he got as many parts as he should have. I don't think his talent was recognized in the way it should have been recognized, at least as far as getting gigs. And it feels like a similar thing, and maybe a more pronounced or similar thing happened to Brendan Fraser at maybe to a higher degree, but that guy turned around and won an Oscar, so there's that.
Yeah, I don't remember all the details from the stuff that I read, but part of, if I remember correctly, so this is where it could be wrong. Part of Brendan Fraser's departure from just the visibility in all of Hollywood, part of it was a certain amount of mistreatment or whatever, but then part of it was also a personal decision to step away. And then how much of that was intertwined with the other, I don't remember. That's the part that I don't have all the details for.
I think the part, so cut from the late 90s, early 2000s, his career was looking promising. He had the Mummy franchise, and he had
Tarzan.
No, it wasn't Tarzan.
No,
it was
George of the Jungle. Yeah,
George of the Jungle. I don't know that one did well, but he had he was showing a range, a nice range. Like he did action, he did comedy. I love Bedazzled is a movie that I can still. It doesn't hold up well when you're watching it with somebody who doesn't understand the context of what life, is out of context and doesn't appreciate it. It doesn't hold up well, but it's a movie that I enjoy. The other thing I'm thinking of is like he had one of the best recurring guest roles on Scrubs, and it was he had a promising career, and I think that there was best of my recollection that from my reading was or people who reported on it was that he didn't he somehow got on the outs, and maybe it was something with his agent, and I don't know. Blackballed wasn't the word used, but there was something going on, and then I think he backed off from that, and then I don't know. I don't know if did you see the role that his role for that he won an Oscar for?
Not yet.
It's a movie. I think that if he had not won an Oscar, I don't think I would have watched it. But I saw it on some streaming service, so it wasn't something I went out of my way to watch. But I was like, I saw it, and I was like, I want to watch this because he was an actor that I very much enjoyed, and I don't understand why his career went the direction it did. And now he's come back and won the most prestigious award you can for being an actor, and I watched it, and it's a good movie. It's a very good movie. It's I think it's called The Well, and I think it was a deserved. I think the award was well deserved. I don't know who he was up against, but it was a good movie.
I always liked him anyway. I find it interesting the actors that I gravitate toward, maybe is a way to put it. But there are a lot of actors that I like their stuff for varying reasons, and then there are a few that I gravitate toward because I genuinely think they're good people, And he was one that fit both. Like I genuinely got the impression he was a good person and genuinely enjoyed what he did. Sean Patrick Flannery is another one that comes to mind where I genuinely think he's a good person and I like the things that I've seen him do.
We have a number of different ways set up for you to get in touch with us to provide feedback, ask questions, or just comment in about something we've discussed.
You can hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at untitled_hosts, or shoot an email over to untitled.hosts@gmail.com.
Or get in touch directly with Jesse at jthart.com, or get in touch with me, John, via telepathy.
If you would like to support our work or are interested in listening to our new after show feed, head over to patreon.com/theUntitledPodcast and take a look at the options we have set up.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you've enjoyed the show.
And we hope to connect with more of you as we continue this journey.
That's a wrap. Yeah, I've been making some progress. And I didn't put this in notes. We also started Severance.
Oh, okay.
Only 2 episodes into Severance, so
I feel like Severance the entire time feels incredibly slow, and then all of a sudden feels fast while being slow. It's got a weird. For me, I felt like not weird. It just had a.
It's got a very different tempo.
Yes, that's a really good way to say it. And if you don't appreciate the type of art that they are engaging in, that they're presenting to you, it's easy to get to a place where you don't like the show.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. So we watched the first 2 episodes so far. I'm interested and disinterested at the same time, which I think speaks to the same feeling I'm certainly interested enough to continue watching it. Like, it's not that there's a lack of interest in general. It's just that this isn't my style of storytelling for sure. And so I can relate to the dissonance. And I honestly think that that's a production style choice. That how do you create this emotional feeling in people to convey the subject matter? So it's part of it is like really good crafting, and I hate it at the same time.
Yeah. So my experience was not too dissimilar for where you are in the show. I don't remember which episode it happened, but at one point I was like, oh. And I remember thinking, I need to go. I went back and, like, I don't know, I might have gotten to the 4th or 5th episode and then felt the need, I need to go back and find this one part in like episode 2 and rewatch this again, because I felt like I needed to make sure that I got everything out of everything that they gave to us in that part of the episode. And so, yeah, it's a little bit wild. And I will say that I felt like season 1, once I got hooked on it, like there was a point where I was like, I switched to like, okay, yes, let me, like, it felt like I had to, like, there was some effort that was required on my part to stay with the show. And then it was like a switch where it was like, oh, it's pulling me along, and like, it soon became effortless.
I can see that. It's just the way they've put everything together. I could absolutely see that. And I don't want to necessarily go too far into it yet, because I'm not far enough. It's one of those things where if you were to tell me that, I'm not surprised at all, and we'll see if I feel the same way. That's kind of where I am with it. But I think with the way they crafted it and put things together, I think it's inevitable that happens if you stay with it.
I love Patricia Arquette in the show.
Yeah, so far, very fun.
Yeah, and it's the only show I've seen on Apple. It's the only thing I've seen on Apple TV Plus that there is no Apple device in the entire first 2 seasons. That's not a spoiler. It's, obviously it's a stylistic, decision.
I think everything about the set design screams Apple, though.
Oh, for sure. There's not. I mean, I think that's one of. I kind of wonder if there are folks that like want to work if on Apple's side, if they're looking for certain style, it seems like they're looking for certain styles. Because like if you look at Ted Lasso, that has a very everything is just so nice in Ted Lasso. There's it feels like it could be one of Apple's videos when they show how people live in the world, which is idealistic, we'll say. And but I did read somewhere it's like if you see someone using a non-Apple device, they're a bad guy. And I was like, that. I hope that's not true because that could be a spoiler in and of itself. So.
It wouldn't surprise me though.
No, it wouldn't surprise me either. Oh, but I will say one of the things that I did find really interesting, and there was another show, it was canceled after the first season, or it didn't get renewed after the first season. It was called High Desert, and it also had Patricia Arquette, and she was she starred in this show, and she was kind of what's the word I'm looking for? She was a bit of a hot mess, and her phone always had her phone. It was an older iPhone, so even when they made the show, it was obviously an older phone, and it had a cracked screen, and it just really fit the character. And I know that there's I gotta imagine there's somebody on that is responsible for making sure that things are portrayed the way they are supposed to be portrayed. But I can appreciate that they're like, yeah, well, for this character, it fits that they would have a cracked screen, and I appreciate that they would do that.
All right, so Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've certainly made pretty quick progress.
Now?
Yeah, I'm this like third or fourth episode in the second season.
Yeah.
So field of cattle died from clover ingestion, and the theory is that it was dropped from like a skydiving plane, and so that's being investigated. Jamie has conceded or dropped out of the DA race, and the blonde, I don't remember her name now, but
the sister?
No, not the sister. The blonde that the sister recruited to be Jamie's competition.
I don't remember her.
The one that becomes the DA, or I assume she becomes the DA because she's not officially the DA yet, but she is looking into the shooting of the boy when the livestock agents went to talk to a guy and did not get support from the sheriff and everything. And so the sheriff held a press conference after being, quote unquote, reminded who he works for, saying that it was a failure of theirs, not the livestock association, etc.
I do remember that.
Monica's teaching at the university, and looks like the story is done in a way that it looks like she's considering an affair with the PT guy, but is also,
yep.
Talking to Casey. How that all shakes out, I don't know yet. But so that's at a high level. That's where I am. You started to ask something.
Yeah, I was gonna say there'll be a scene that occurs in I don't think you've gotten to it yet, but there's a scene with Monica in a retail store that is, I find it was a memorable scene. I'll say that it's a memorable scene.
Yeah, it doesn't sound familiar, so I don't think I'm quite
okay.
there.
I'm confident you'd remember that. So yeah, that might be season 3,
and it might be in the next episode or two as well. I've been surprised how quick we've covered ground, but at the same time, not surprised, if that makes sense. Like the pacing is kind of what I expect.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's also it's new TV in that it's not 24 episodes. They're not having to figure out how to put in old TV 24 episodes is like 2.5 seasons.
Yeah.
I said that wrong, but I think you knew what I meant.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. Basically, in old TV, you would have half a season of filler material, and you essentially don't have the filler material. Yeah.
Like, unless you're watching the first season of The Mandalorian. Somehow, That was
See,
Yeah, I don't-
I agree, but at the same time, I appreciate the fact that they did it because I think it helps set up the rest of what you want from the
it.
character.
It depends. Well, I was going to say it depends on what kind of show you are, because I think that a nice throwback, similar genre, Firefly. There was a lot of filler in Firefly, but I didn't care because I liked it. Was more. It felt like it was meant to be more episodic than it was meant to be a serial. I don't know if those are the right term. I don't know if it's, let me rephrase it. It felt like you had a nice open and close in an episode. You had a story, felt like a contained episode. There was there was a story arc to the entire one season. Actually, it was an old TV show, so it was 18 episodes, and it was meant to be a part. It was a partial season. So there was I'm thinking of new ways, new things I want to add to the thing that I'm saying, which is a common thing I do. But I'd say Joss Whedon did a good job of like having an idea of a story that he wanted to tell, but he did it in such a way that each episode felt like a story on its own, that you could start and stop while also progressing an overall season story arc that was interesting. So I feel like other shows tried, like I feel like maybe The Mandalorian tried to do that, and it wasn't done in a way that I appreciated. I don't want to say it was done poorly. I just want to say it was not done in a way that I appreciate, because another show that might be like that is The White Lotus. That one is like, I don't mind how sometimes that show can be, slow to progress the overall storyline of the season, because I can appreciate what they're doing in the particular episode that I'm watching.